Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. Traditional and digital live stream. Today, as I clear my throat, excuse me. Oh, there's my notes. Today we're on day 49 for the live stream. We've spent quite a bit of time on this tiger. Our description of perseverance. And we're very close to the end now, which is really good because working on a painting for this long is very dangerous. It's very easy when you're working on a painting for this long to just kind of want to give up, right? Because it's been going for so long. But the good thing about it, or what I'll say about that, is I've been doing art every day for the past 10 years plus now. 3,679 days today? Yeah. In a row. And throughout all that time, it's kind of allowed me to build up perseverance. And this is exactly what we're trying to illustrate within our tiger painting. The purpose of this painting is to illustrate the perseverance of a tiger, the never give up, they keep going no matter what, because a tiger is only successful in hunting 4% of the time, but they never give up. So whatever dreams you have, whatever aspirations, don't give up. And yeah, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to illustrate this. Hopefully, in the end, it will come out. And we'll see. So, I'm going to focus deeply on the body today and nothing else, and just take my time with it and do each section correctly, and work my way down on the chest area. Hopefully we can get all the way down to the feet on this. And what I'm doing is I have this brush by David Revoy that I'm going to be using most of. Textured Crease Update is what it's called. If you're interested in the brushes by David Revoy, I would suggest, I think it's davidrevoy.com. Do a Google search if you don't know how to spell his name, Revoy. And he has everything on there. He's kind of the ambassador, really, for Krita in a lot of ways. You know, what I am going to do is I'm going to move to my full workspace with only the color picker. I really love this setup. Hey, good morning, Thinker. Thanks for joining me again. And while I'm doing this, we're going to also get the beard kind of figured out as well, because we've cut off a lot of the beard down here. I'm going to try and keep it lighter as well in some places, and working with these cool tones. I keep calling it a beard, but it's really a mane. I feel like I'm denigrating the awesome age of this tiger by calling it a beard. So I'm going to try and stop that. Using a combination of kind of grayish green colors down here and grayish blues, but making sure that I stay within the value range that I want. Yesterday when I left off, I was having a lot of fun, especially with the body. That looks pretty good. I'm not going to change much on the beard. I was having a lot of fun in the body by adding in all of these colors. One of the things that you can do that's kind of a really wonderful method that I like a lot is to pick a color right around where you're working I want to make this one a bit darker right here. Let's say we're picking, this color here, and I want to add a bit of splash of color. Well, I look how far that is away from the color wheel, and I'll pick someplace else on the color wheel, like in this blue. But make sure that I have the same distance from the color wheel. And then I can place that there, and it won't look too off. As long as you have that similar value and saturation, it'll be pretty good. I think maybe, even in this, let's gray this up a bit. And with all of this hair that we're working on here, it's got a bit too much texture to it. Except for up here, I've really kind of pulled a lot of the texture out by just working it up with a smaller brush and adding layer after layer in there. Have to make sure that we kind of destroy our stripes a little bit and then also bring them back. So I like coming down in here and then picking out wow, that's super gray. Let's just pick out a purple. I think it's more with the value. It doesn't really matter what color you use as long as the value's there. Let's bring some of this stripe back in. I'm finding that the pressure on this brush is a bit too light. Let me look and see what I can change here. The flow, yeah, the flow is limiting, but I think that's okay. Opacity, 100%. I believe it could be the flow. Let's change it to an arc like this. Okay. This is the tiger that we're using for the stripes. And this stripe here, we overlaid this body on top of this tiger, but this stripe here is not working. We also increased the size of this tiger body, and these stripes are what's really describing the shape of the body. So what I really need to do here is widen the stripe out so it kind of goes out this way. So we'll just paint over it. And then I'm just going to bring it out in this direction. Very black color. Let's go into like intense blues with this. With the one thing I really like to do with these really dark colors is increase the intensity a lot. Some of the time. Let me back up. Yeah, that's getting it. But I need to go under this beard and then bring the beard back. With digital, yes, layers are really great because I could have painted underneath this beard without any issue. But sometimes that just doesn't always work out because you need to kind of merge some layers at some point, or else you're kind of splitting yourself between all kinds of different layers, like if you need to erase something beneath. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. Yeah, that looks good. There's a bit too much warmth within here. I'm going to darken this up into a gray. And some blue. We kind of lost the shape of that. I like how it came down. I'm not going to worry about it. I think that's fine. What I'll do, though, is I'll push it back. There's always the possibility. So if I go back to a view where I can see my brushes, there's always a possibility of changing to a different brush. Or, to maybe push down some of that texture. Okay, this is 100%. This is a pretty good brush for that. It's a smudging brush. I want to see if I can just kind of... don't go across the form. Just lightly smudge a bit. I believe it's called a smudge. It's either smudge or blend. Either way. It's doing, I would think, the same thing. I'm sure that we could be very pedantic about the difference between smudge and blend, but as long as it's achieving what we need to achieve with this, which is bringing that texture down without making it too blurry. I like the texture, but I also want the tiger to feel naturalistic. That's not too bad, except for over here I have some really long brush strokes. I tend to experiment a lot as well. Oh, and see, this is what I was talking about before. It's like I'm not even affecting some of these layers because I'm all the way up here. And all of these are separate layers in some instance. So to bring all that together, it's going to be all about merging. Or I can go through and I could continually try and figure out which layer is which, and then make a change between each one. So if I wanted to smudge out some of this stripe, I could be on that layer. It's a bit too much uniformity there for me. Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, hair isn't uniform, so let's go into the brush. It's not using a pattern. It's just, what kind of brush is it? If we go to brush tip, is it going to tell us? No, it's not going to tell us what kind of brush engine. And it's not allowing me to draw over here. Let's try again. Nothing? Really? Well, I guess as a smudge brush, it wouldn't have anything to draw with because all it does is take what's underneath of it. So, yeah, no changes in there. That's actually a really cool brush. This one here, whenever we do clouds, I'll have to show you this brush because it does some really cool cloud stuff. All right, it's just going to be down to how I use it. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is merge down. Merging all these. Oh, jeez. Got to be careful on the merges sometimes. We have some layers in here that are overlays. So let's see. Which one of these are an overlay? Normal, normal, normal. There's the overlay. Okay, so let's take all of these layers and move them. Well, no, I'll take the overlay layer and move it to the top. Yeah, and then I should be able to merge down from away from the overlay layer. There we go. So everything's merged except for this overlay that's lighting up the beard and some of the chest. I wonder if that's too light now. No, I actually kind of like that. But that's interesting. That's something that I learned just now, a little bit new, is merging an overlay layer doesn't work very well. All right, let's get back into the hairbrush. There's going to be kind of a work back and forth between putting down color and then focusing on, changing up the texture after that. And I am, even though the white goes out a bit further here, so I could take this gray like further out to match the tiger on the right. I'm bringing a bit more orange into this tiger because that's one of the, this is a Siberian tiger on the right. One of the aspects of a Sumatran tiger is it has a bit more orange in its coat. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, not kind of, it really makes a lot of sense. The Siberian tiger is going to be probably dealing with a lot of snow. So for camouflage, they're going to need a lot more white in their fur. The Sumatran tiger is in a jungle. The orange would probably help them a bit better. Which is, actually, now that I say that, orange is the exact opposite of green. But, how do the prey of the tiger see, number one? Do they see color? Because there's some animals that see color in very different ways. It's like the mantis shrimp sees colors that we haven't even discovered yet, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So some animals that are prey of this Sumatran tiger probably see colors in a different way, so that orange works out for successful hunts a bit more. All right? Or, there's a lot of shade within a jungle. So maybe orange in shade is much different than what we have right here. Pretty darn interesting when you think about it. I bet that there's a professional digital artist out there that has a brush that would do fur really well within a minimal amount of work. I have not done the research to find something like that. What we have done is, I look at the brushes that I have and I try and figure out, okay, how can I manipulate this brush, use this brush to make it look like fur? Because really, you don't need any special brush to do whatever the heck you want. It's all in how you use it. Okay, I'm going to reset this brush by hitting W. That'll reset all the changes that I made to it as far as the flow. Because now I'm finding that the flow is a bit too much. Like, I lack the subtlety. What I can do also to increase my speed on this is I can go to this brush here, the one we're using our smudge with, and I can assign it to my favorites tag. And then when I'm in this view, I can click here and I can find that brush. So it's up here. So I can go in between these two brushes. So go to the smudge real quick and cut down some of this texture or smudge things. Got too much orange right here, or too much gray. So let's bring that orange back in. It's really easy. I mean, I'm going to pick this same value, and then actually it is quite a bit of an orange. Maybe we'll just change the intensity of it. There you go. I could do that another way, like I'll pick that kind of grayish color, and then I'll increase the intensity with this slider. That will keep it closer to the same exact hue and just add more chroma. Chroma intensity are interchangeable. Basically the same thing. Just different words for each. So the one thing that I don't want to lose on this tiger is this overlap that happens. That separates, let me see if I can, so there's a line here, comes up from the leg, it dips in, and then it fades into the body right there. So, but this overlap is the indicator to you, like this is the front, that's the side. Same here. This line goes in and then fades away. And there's this kind of connector with the stripes, but even if we didn't have the stripes, your brain would connect those two lines and separate the front of the tiger from the back of the tiger. Probably the two most important lines that we have in here. And I'm going to make sure that it is delineated tremendously. I'm going to go back to my brush. Following the direction of the hairs, and I can let me get a gesture of it first. Like here, the leg comes up, it's gonna dip in there, that, right? Yeah. And I'm going to erase this little bit here. Yeah, I want that corner to be sharp. A definite change in the front to the side. Oh, look at that wonderful purple in there. That's good. Actually, just a few months ago, when I first started out with traditional art, or I'm sorry, not traditional, with digital art, I found it hard to continually zoom in and out. Now I'm doing it like every other second. It's one of those things where I was really watching other digital artists work and noticing how they're zooming in and out all the time, and I'm like, oh man, okay, so I need to try and do that. And then finding it really difficult. And in those modes, those times, it's really easy to kind of denigrate yourself because, oh, why can't I get this? Why this artist who's been working for years can do it? Why can't I do it? I feel like you really identified it in that statement. It's because they've been doing it for years. I still do that. Okay, Thinker says, looks like there's a sliver of a color and value change to delineate the form on the reference. It's, yeah, I can see what you mean there. It's more like the, when we look on the side, like all of these stripes pile up, which is interesting. And they would too, because, I mean, you got a cylinder with all these stripes on it, you're looking down the side, it's going to look like a pile of them. So let's do this. I'm going to kind of lighten that up just a bit. And let's pile up those stripes right here. Let's use them to really separate the front from the side. And honestly, all of this texture needs to be a lot smaller. It needs to be maybe even blurred out a lot as well. That's one thing that we haven't done with that palm that we could do. We got the highest level of sharpness within the tiger here, the tiger's head. but then there would be levels of blurriness that go back. The jungle we've blurred out a lot. I mean, I love that blur back there. Isn't that wonderful? It's fantastic. Look at that separation right there. Bam. You know, it's going to be a lot of fun to reproduce that. Oh, a bit. You meant a bit further down on the leg. Okay. A bit further down on the leg. Yeah. It's kind of like there's a glow on the outside here, too. It's kind of white out there. Yeah. Yeah, we'll use all that. So yeah, I want to extend this straight down. Alright, I'm going to try something to help us move a bit faster on this. It could be completely terrible, but, you know, I'm going to take a little bit of a risk. Yeah. Oof. I have to be very careful with these strokes if I'm going to do this. Especially when I'm dealing with a smudge between a very dark color and a very light color. You see how that really shows? Same thing as with oil painting. If I'm dealing with values that are close to each other, you have a lot of forgiveness within that. Actually, before I do this, I want some of that awesome color everywhere. Some life in this. I'm going to try, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bunch of coloration to this whole chest area. And then instead of going into a lot of detail with all these strokes to get things figured out, I'm going to use a smudge tool to see if I can achieve all of that a lot faster. And the first thing I'm going to do is just jump into a lot of this purplish colors. I really love how that looks in a lot of ways. It's like it's something you wouldn't expect, but as long as we're getting the values right, there's a few of them, like right up there, that's really popping out, but I'm totally cool with that. It's one of those things where you can be a representational artist, but it's not about copying the photo exactly all the time. You gotta have, figure out something that is kind of your flair, right? Your interest, something that is, it's exciting to you. And even when I say that, if it's exciting to you to get every single hair perfectly right, just like the photo, and go for that hyper photo realistic kind of mode, sure, go there. That's fine too. I mean, don't let me tell you that not to do that. But just to explain this method, what I really enjoy is these kind of this play in color. Specifically just the play in hue. That's kind of coming out a little bit weird. The play in hue, because I keep the values similar. And when you do that, you can almost use, I could use just about any color and it'll be fine. I really like that kind of hint of light on this side that's a bit more blurry. It doesn't have sharp edges to it. So if I pick this gray, what is the like strangest color that we can pick for there? That's why I kept going for purple in a lot of ways. Let's try that teal. Let's go super saturated teal. I think that's Thinker's favorite color because you've suggested teal like 50 times, at least. But it looks pretty good there. I like it. I think I've asked you your favorite color, but I can't remember what it is. It took me years to figure out my favorite color as an artist. Like colors I just really enjoy. Orange. I really love orange. I used to feel bad about it. Like, orange? People are like, really? Orange? I get that all the time. Like, yes. Damn it. Orange. Why is it so bad that I like orange? Yeah, I don't care what you think. I think orange is an awesome color. Maybe why, like, you look back at my history, I painted a lot of oranges. Great practice, by the way. If you don't have anything to paint, like, oh, I don't know what to paint, I don't know what to do, paint still lifes, paint oranges, especially oranges. Or, you know, anything with a super bright color to it, man, that's some fun stuff. Put one single light on anything that has, you know, a very intense local color, okay? One single light, very close, that will challenge you. You're going to be exhausting your palette in a lot of ways to try and figure out how to get to that orange, and then you're going to start trying to figure out, well, how do I adjust this color to capture those shadows accurately, because holy cow, those shadows are, you know, what is a dark orange look like? How do you make orange dark, right? Teal is one of my favorites. It also looks like it is almost a perfect complement to the orange of the tiger. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the exact complement from where we're at is going to be in this range. It's a bit more blue, but we could just barely move it over to teal. You know what's interesting about this? Lots of movies use this coloration, teal and orange. It's kind of like a movie standard. Actually, in a lot of my videos, I'll do like color grading for the videos that use teal and orange. Something about it. Just, you'll see it a lot in movies. I don't think we're crazy enough on this color, honestly. Here, super intense purple. Look how dark that is. It's fantastic. Brighten it up some. Super intense teal. Something we haven't done is a red, super intense red. Especially in these darker colors. Some of this is strategic, I will say. It's not just completely random. I've talked about this several times, where if you're dealing with a cylinder and a change of value from one side to the other, because you have a cylinder and it's lit by one single light source, right? Let's see if I can illustrate this real quick. Favorite color. Here, we'll go with super bright. So if you have a cylinder, okay. Wow. Cylinders are great for studying how color affects different things. So you have a cylinder and you have a light source here, right? It's going to be super bright kind of in this area. You know, maybe the light source is a little bit, you know, coming from not just the side, but a little bit closer to you as a viewer. And then you'll have a drop off of halftones this way. And then you'll have a drop off of halftones this way. And this is where the highlight is, okay? And then the definition of the shadow will be right here. So this is where the deeper shadows are. Well, this little space, it's a very tiny space, but much smaller than that. Probably just the width of this line here, where you go halftone, 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 and then shadow. They call this the terminator, okay? A lot of illustrators like Drew Struzan will use that, make it darker, really. But if you look at artists like Monet, within that area, whatever colors they're dealing with, like local color, such as color of this tiger. Actually, we can do it here on the leg, and well, sort of, because we got some coloration changes. But that's where the most intense color will happen. And with fur, I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but there it is. And then that's the kind of place where you can really play with this color. As I'm looking at it, that purple is just too much. Push that back just a little bit. I love all the colors. I really do. I'm sure other artists would say, okay, that's a bit crazy. You're going a bit crazy on that. Thank you. Yes. That's what I wanted to do. All right, let's smudge, but I'm going to stay away from the stripes because the smudge is not working well on these stripes because the difference in value. So we have all those colors. The reason why I'm smudging is because there's way too much texture in here. It's distracting. It's pulling away from our focal point, which is the tiger's head. I want this to look naturalistic. I want it to look good. But the most important thing is I don't want it to distract away from our center of interest, our purpose for the painting. Yeah, that's actually working really well. That could get us really far really quickly. I will need to kind of work into those stripes though. Maybe I'll change brushes that is a little bit less textural. I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll bring this down to this smudge to the smallest point and work it much differently. Differently how? Instead of going in here with a big brush and just going smudge, 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 you know, if you look at, yeah, that kind of texture where you're not really thinking about it, you're just doing one stroke, next stroke, same distance away, next stroke, same distance away, next stroke, same distance. You get this kind of mechanical way of painting when in actuality, reality would do a ton of smudging right here and then a little bit there and then skip a bunch and then do just a little, then go to this side and then just be completely random. We want randomness. So jump around everywhere. Make one smudge super long, super crazy. Press really hard. Don't like that one. Okay, it works better when I get deep into it like this. Let's try this side. Look at that red. Isn't that red awesome? If you know color and value well, the knowledge is what gives you freedom. How do you learn this? How do you learn it so you don't have to think about it? And that, you know, really that's the name of the game. Is to learn this craft so well that you don't think about it. It just happens. It just appears. You do it without conscious understanding of why you're doing it. You get to this point where you can say, okay, well, this, I feel that this needs this. You do that by having purposeful practice as often as you can. Daily is best. What is purposeful practice? Wonderful book. And I have a whole review of it on my website that is hidden, that I've unpublished basically, that I need to put out there again. But this is Peak by Anders Ericsson. Kind of the treatise really for high performance, or for just what makes people great, really, how to get good at anything. A great pairing to this would be Mastery by George Leonard. That's another really great book on what it takes. But if you want science fact on, and 2.5 decades of research on performance and what makes people great at what they do, Anders Ericsson's book Peak. Malcolm Gladwell leaned heavily on that book to kind of coin that 10,000 hour phrase. It takes 10,000 hours. You spend 10,000 hours on anything, and you'll know it well. So what I'm looking at here is I smudged that out, but I'm wondering if I smudged it too much. No, I don't think so. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it like it is. I'm a little uncomfortable with it, but I'm okay there. I'm okay with that. Boy, that teal looks good on the chest. Yes, it does. I really like the look of it. So yeah, having that understanding of, how color reacts to each other, you can take out the strange colors and throw them on your canvas and it looks good. I hesitate using that word good. Good and bad are meaningless concepts. They're subjective to everyone, but what good is to you? But the main point on that is if you know color well, and when I say color, I'm talking about hue, saturation, value. Value's king. Knowing that well is what gives you freedom. Your ability to play within there and to do it without thinking. And you do that by purposeful practice every day. And I was going into what purposeful practice is. Oh boy, it's been so long. I do need to review that book. One of the things that I know that purposeful practice is that it's focused. It's a kind of time when you shut off your phone, you close your door, you tell your family, you tell everyone around you, I'm going to be deep focus for an hour and a half, and don't bother me. it's not going to happen. Call me if you want, do whatever you want, but I'm not going to pay attention to any of that. I'm going to have my headphones on. I'm not going to hear anybody, and I'm just going to deeply focus into this. The other thing is that it has a clear goal. So when you're practicing, you have a clear goal. I don't do that as much as I should now that I'm thinking about it. There's other aspects of it that I'm trying to remember right now. Honestly, I can't remember. I think one of the most important aspects of purposeful practice is feedback. And this is where it kind of breaks apart for artists in a lot of ways, especially artists that are working on their own, like myself. We have to develop all these kind of methodologies to try and get feedback on our own work. Or we join a community of like-minded artists that are wanting to get better, wanting to improve, and we provide feedback in that community and we gain feedback from that community. That's another great way of doing this. We need some, you know what this needs? It needs some teal. I need to be careful because I'm going to be putting that color everywhere. And then someone's going to say, why is your tiger so teal? Yeah, so Peak by Anders Ericsson. It took me a few weeks to get through that book. I had a physical copy and I was making notes on every single page. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, I found the scientifically proven, research-backed way of getting better. And I just need to follow this methodology because it's been proven over years and years. Why wouldn't you spend, most of your time on that book, right? And learn it to the core? You would. Here's what I'm going to do. There's kind of a rim light over here. So right here, this kind of light, let me see so you can see my cursor right there that I want to capture. Of course, it's way down here. And it goes... a bit too on the nose with this one. Let me fuzz it out just a little bit. Okay. We have 4 minutes left. I'm sticking to the time today. I'm motivated. I'm focused. I've slept well the past couple days. I've actually changed my sleeping schedule and it's working fantastically. And I'm going to stay focused within my day and not blow up my day with one of my awesome tasks going over my time frame. I'm also pushing myself a little bit on this. One of the things that I know that I need to work on now, after working on this tiger for so long, is exactly that. The ability to increase speed. To kind of push yourself, not to... Like, I'm not going to say I'm going to cut the time frame in half on my next tiger painting if I do a tiger painting again. But more along the lines of, okay, what methodologies can I put in place? What practices, what principles that I can affect my efficiency so that I'm much more efficient with this? That's the challenge. The tiger is really looking great. Thank you. I feel the same. I'm glad you said that. I mean, like confirmation is nice. I'm excited to work this up in oil paint every day. That's going to be quite a challenge. Live streaming in my studio. That's going to be challenging because the setup time is going to take a bit more every day. I have to figure out another method so that my setup time will take a lot less longer. That's one thing that's really important to me with my daily art, my daily traditional art when I do it. I mean, I've been all digital. Digital has that, in the bag as far as setup and takedown. I mean, it's like you can't beat that on digital. An infinite amount of color. You don't ever have to worry about, refreshing your color. You don't have to worry about setup time, getting the easel ready, moving your easel around, putting the correct light on it, all this kind of stuff. It's just there. You open your laptop, you start the program, and you're going full speed. All right, there we are, 5:30. So yeah. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to move some things around. Actually, I'm going to hide all of our reference for right now. Yeah, looking really great. Tomorrow's session is going to be the same, where we really I focus really deeply on the rest of this body here, and get down into the feet hopefully tomorrow. And then either we'll go into the back of, like the side, the butt of the tiger butt. Yeah, probably the tiger butt. Finish up the tiger completely, and then the rock will be underneath, and then this palm frond, and then we'll be done. So I'm guessing, next week sometime we'll be done with this tiger and starting into the actual oil painting of it. I'm excited. Anyway, there we are. There's my time for the day. 1 hour live stream. Don't forget, we have the traditional to digital, or traditional and digital. I changed the name of it. Have to. Actually, on my Gumroad, it still says traditional to digital, but back and forth. Anyways, Gumroad, in the description for this video, you'll find this, where all the resources, and I still need to, I missed it this Saturday, but we're up to, tomorrow will be 50. So I have 7 more to upload. For $10, you get all of the resources. Everything we've done for the past, 49 days will be uploaded soon. So check that out. And if $10 is too much for you because you're an artist, use the code CB50OFF and it'll only be $5 for you. Crazy deal. There we are. Check it out. Download it. Purchase. And yeah, I will see you guys same time tomorrow. Thank you.